Hello, Mike here. In a previous video I talked about some 2012 vehicles, electric vehicles, that were part of the newest generation of EVs, and this being one of them, the 2012 Mitsubishi i-MiEV. So in this video I'm going to take you on a tour of this car and show you how it's held up since 2012. It's 12 years old now. It's got over 100,000 kilometers or 60,000 miles. And I'd like to take you on a tour of it. You can see what it looks like. It's probably a car that not very many have seen before. And in a previous video, I also took you on a tour of a 2012 Nissan Leaf, and we also talked about a 2012 Tesla. And those were the main three vehicles that were available widely for sale in 2012 in North America. So let's take a look at this 2012 Mitsubishi i-MiEV and see what it looks like today. So the 2012 Mitsubishi i-MiEV, it was widely available and actually available in a lot of parts of the world. It was also available in Europe as a Peugeot Ion and Citroën C0, just rebadged, and I think they were all built in the same factory in Japan and just rebadged for different markets. But this is how it was sold in North America as a Mitsubishi, and so you can take a look at it. Some people would say it's cute. Other people have more choice words for the aesthetics of it. But nonetheless, this was one of those vehicles that was available for sale in 2012. And it was one of the least expensive options at the time as well. Although it was still pretty expensive. It was well over $30,000 for this vehicle when it was brand new. Interestingly, this vehicle came with a tiny electric battery. It was 16 kilowatt hours. That's 1.6. And it has no gas backup motor, so that was the entire battery, is at 16 kilowatt hours. And so it did leave it with a little bit of a short on range, but it was never designed as a highway vehicle. It was always designed as a city runabout vehicle. And this actually was originally sold in 2008 in Japan, and they call it a kei car. And it was actually smaller in the Japanese version. It was slightly narrower in the Japanese version, and they widened it for the world market. But it is very small indeed. And let's take a look inside. So I've just left it how it is, how I got it. I haven't shined it up, cleaned it up, or overly cleaned it. So it's just as dirty as it would be for a 12-year-old vehicle. And it's just a very basic interior, cloth seats. And it does have some creature comforts on the door here. You do have power mirrors and power locks and power windows. Actually, the power mirrors are over here, and even has a cup holder right here. It folds in just like that, so it's very simple. And even the vents are very simple. They just rotate in their circumference there. There's no fancy features on this vehicle. There's it's basically as basic as it can get. And let's climb in. Actually, let's take a look now at the back seat. Back seat similar to what you would expect. It is only a 4-seater, so in the center there's just a little plastic piece that says I, which is I for i-MiEV. But it only seats 4 people, so there's only 4 seat belts in it. But surprisingly, even though it is such a small vehicle, the interior space is quite spacious compared to its exterior. You might think you would get crammed in there, but it's really pretty big. Also, there is a little bit of cargo space here, which is not a lot, but if you put down these seats here, they fold forward. You can actually get a fairly large cargo space in here as well. So you can actually store a fair bit of cargo. All right, let's take a look inside the dashboard. So sitting in the cockpit of this vehicle is very, very simple. I'll turn it on here in a minute. We've just got the bare minimum basics here. We've got a AM, FM, CD radio, and we have a very basic climate control settings. We've got cool and heat, and the little green dot, if you turn your dial here to the green dot, that means neither cool nor heat is on. So it will extend your range, of course, if you're not using cooling or heating. This is simply your fan, and then this is your selector for your different vents. And further down here, we do have The shifter, it's automatic style shifter, so it's got park, reverse, neutral, and drive, which are all what we would normally expect. Then we have an eco mode here as well, which will remap the accelerator. It does force you to press the accelerator a little bit harder to get more speed out of it, and also it does increase the regenerative braking. And then we've got B mode, which leaves your accelerator alone. It gives you full power, but it does increase your regen braking quite a bit. So that's when you're slowing down, it's going to be recharging the battery more aggressively. Then we've got a little glove compartment in here, and very basic door panels. I mean, this is just simple plastic, and every door does have its own power lock and power window option though, so that's pretty cool. And there's another cup holder over here, which isn't very fancy. Okay, now let's get it in. Now it does have old-fashioned keys to start it, so there's no starting with the fob in your pocket. And turn the key, and there we go. Now it's indicated that the car is switched on. So on the left-hand side here, you can see it says ready and the little light there, green light. And just above that, and underneath that is a tire pressure. So I guess there's a low tire pressure in one of them. But above that, you've got a very simple battery gauge there, right where it says P. So as we PR, and as we change gears, so I'll just switch the gears here. So this just indicates what you're doing with the shifter, which is fairly typical. But on the left hand side of that, there's this little arc of dots that are right here, and there's 16 of them in total. And you can see there's an F and an E, full and empty. So right now I've got 15 out of 16 battery dots available, or battery portions. And that is our battery gauge. It tells us how far we have it charged up right now. Just extremely basic. Then as we move to the center here, we've got the speedometer, which it just shows a number simply. And we've got that little red needle, which is going to show you how much power you're drawing when you're accelerating. So it's going to move towards the power section over on the right side. Or if you're slowing down and you're recharging the car, it's going to move to the blue section when it's regenerating. Then on the far right hand side, we've got a range estimated right now of 58 kilometers, or around 40 miles. But if we press this, you could toggle through different things. So we've got outdoor temperature, overall odometer, 101,000. So it's around, 62,000 miles or so. And trip A, trip B. And this is setting your dash instrument cluster brightness, kilometers till next service, and then back to range estimated gauge. So you can only show one of those at a time. It does have intermittent wipers, so that's nice, and it does have the rear window wiper as well. And on the front, it also has your headlights and fog lights as well. So that's another little feature it has. It's very basic. Then you've got your windshield wipers. So there's the one that's along the bottom of your windshield. And then there's this other one here, which is actually vertical along the pillar on the right-hand side. So when you turn them on, this is kind of how it looks. Definitely odd. You don't often see windshield wipers that are vertical on the windshield when they're in their parked position. You can see this one's lived a pretty good life. It's been through a lot. There's some scratches and scrapes and dings, and it's not perfectly clean. But that's the whole point of this video, is I just wanted to show you how it's held up over the years. And it's not a show quality car. It's not been, it's not been cared for extremely carefully. As I was saying before, the car was made wider when it was brought into the North American market. So this dashboard here actually ends here, and then when they made it for the North American market, they added this spacer here because they did make the frame wider of the vehicle. So they added a spacer here and also on the other side of the car, just so that they can use the same the dashboard, I guess, but then they have that space available there to widen it, if you can believe it, it's wider. And then if you look on the side of the seat here, right beside the seat, there's all this space here, which was not filled in. So you basically got You know, they're just sort of adapting it to the market and not trying too hard to completely modify and update and change it. Then up top here, you've got your regular just rear view mirror, which is, no, it does have a mirror, so very nice. Okay, and it does have, you know, reading lights up here as well, and another sun visor, which this one doesn't have a mirror on it. Something interesting in this vehicle is as you turn the fan up or down, it also changes your range remaining. So we got 53 right now, and I'm going to adjust the fan higher. If I turn it up higher, it jumps down to 50. I turn the fan on lower, it's going to turn it back down to 53. I don't know if other EVs do that when you change the fan speed. Let me know in the comments. Hi, just a quick break here on the i-MiEV tour. YouTube tells me 97% of my viewers are not subscribed. If you could click that subscribe button for me, it would greatly be appreciated. Thanks so much. Back to the tour. The other interesting thing about this car is if you want to get under the hood, because it is a Japanese car, you need to enter from the, I say hood or bonnet. You need to undo it here on the passenger side, release there, and that will allow you to get underneath here. So they didn't bother to change that when they switched over to a left-hand drive vehicle for the North American market. And then we've got a tiny little bar here to hold that up. And as you can see, it's extremely basic in here. There is no frunk, so there's no storage in the front of the vehicle. There is, as there is in all electric vehicles, a 12-volt battery, which is located under the hood here. That runs your lights and radio and all the other accessories like that. This is a coolant tank for the heater. The heater actually in this car is still an old-fashioned, like traditional heater core, and it heats up a fluid with a separate heater and runs it through the heater core. Again, that's left over. This was also available as a gas vehicle in Japan, and they converted it to electric. It was never available as a gas vehicle outside of Japan, as far as I know. So that's what it looks like under the hood. Maybe now we'll take a look at the charging port. It does have 2 charging ports available. It has your standard J1772, which you release here, AC charging, and then you also have a DC charging port, which is released through here. And I'll show you those. So here's your DC fast charging. It's CHAdeMO, which is very common for Japanese market vehicles at the time. So that's on this side of the vehicle, which you re-released just beside the seat there. And then the AC charging is on this side of the vehicle. This is your standard AC charging port that all electric vehicles have now. So it's still compatible with any charger, any EVSE that comes with any electric vehicle right now. You can see it's seen its better days. It's got a little bit of rust there as well, but still functional. Yeah, so it's not luxurious, but it is functional and a great sitting runabout vehicle. So as you can imagine, this was not a huge seller in the North American market. Just simply the vehicles that we tend to drive are a lot bigger than this. For folks who are looking just for a city runabout vehicle, this was a great option for them. And this one has stood the test of time. It still runs and drives. It does have a lower battery capacity now. It said 59 kilometers, 60 kilometers range. I originally probably would have been closer to 100 realistic range. I think you can read some reports that said it could go up to 160 kilometers, but that would be in exceptional circumstances. So normally 100 kilometers or 60 miles would have been the normal range. This one's degraded by 30 to 40% in battery approximately over its time. But still, if you have a 40-mile vehicle, it's still perfectly suitable for city runabout service, which I'm sure this one is. Here's another look at those windshield wipers again. So pretty unusual configuration. It's got the one horizontal and the one vertical. On the Japanese version, it only has one windshield wiper that goes from the opposite direction. And so I don't know why they had to do it this way for North America, but that's just how it worked out. And the windshield is very large, so it gives you excellent visibility out the front of the vehicle. And I didn't mention I'm 6'1" or about 185 centimeters tall, and I have plenty of headroom in this vehicle. There's lots of space in it. There's no shortage of headroom. It is a little bit narrow getting into it. So when I was mentioning before that they made it narrower, there's all this space that's kind of wasted on the side over here, but then the seats are quite close together. So if you've got two big people like me, you're sort of basically shoulder to shoulder when you're in it. But you can fit and you can drive and you can get from A to B, which is what it's designed for. So what do you think about this 2012 Mitsubishi i-MiEV? They only sold them in North America up until 2017, I believe, and as you can imagine, it was not a hot seller. They sold a few thousand of them, and you may see them running around still. There's just not a lot of them around, but it is one of the original 3 vehicles that had come out that were pure electric in 2012 that were available in the North American market. There was also, of course, the plug-in hybrid Chevy Volt, which is available, but that one has a gas motor, so I'm just focusing on these pure electrics right now. Hopefully I'll be able to make some more videos with this car. Let me know what you'd like to see on it. Maybe we can do a range test on it. Maybe we can do a functionality test, that sort of thing, and see how it's going. It's got all the basics that you need. Perfect teenager car, college car, and a good car for commuting for everyone. So hopefully you found this video interesting and informative, and look back at this modern electric vehicle from our modern history. If you found it interesting or informative, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and consider subscribing for future videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.